we don't have shame. As a matter of fact, the people even take pride in the fact that you're big enough to have stolen that kind of money.
So
somebody went to jail and came back, they did a Thanksgiving service for him.
If you had to put a figure to corruption, what would it be?
I would say 65.
65. 6.5 out of 10.
Yes.
And why is that? That's above
because
average.
There's a lot that should still be done, but a lot also has been done. You know, there is now that prudence in government. There is... I
mean, we're talking about the TSA.
Yes.
So everything goes to one place.
Exactly. So this thing is very simple. If you can build systems and put structures in place, people will come and go. But the system to continue to run. The big problem is now with the Nigerian as the people. The average Nigerian citizen is corrupt. So Buhari can do the most that he wants to do, but an ordinary, I go to civil service.
So how would that change? How would that
reorientation?
And is this government doing enough to reorientate the child?
They can do more. They should do more. They need to do more in actually, not just even orientation, also fighting poverty and creating economic prosperity. Because when people are actually at the level where they cannot provide livelihood to themselves and their families, they're pushed to the wall. So that's why I said, not just tough on poverty, but tough on the causes of poverty.
So the president has gone around the world looking for money, looking for investment, looking to get money that belongs to us back in the country. Do you think that was the right step for him to take?
I think it's standard. Obama, for example, is going for...
So you don't have any problem with the number of foreign trips he's made?
It's dicey.
Because some people have the opinion that he should be at home facing domestic issues.
No, but that's why he has a team. I'm not vouching for the president, but maybe because I've been around a few people in government and I understand what these bilateral meetings are about. You know, I worked in the UN and I still do.
And you still feel like all these things are just laying the ground, and in 2 years we're going to see the harvest.
So nobody wants to relate with you if they don't know you. They can't interact with you. They don't know your person. They don't vouch for you. This is networking. So I belong to a group of SMEs called SME Think Tank. So every time somebody is doing something, I'm always there. I show up. Even if it's for 5 minutes, I greet them, take a picture, interact with them and go out. But you know the funny thing, because when you have a problem, people are also going to stand for you. So it's, how are you there? Are you at where things are happening?
So do you think all these trips, like these countries, are now standing for us?
Yes. I think, they're
I mean, let's look at the British Prime Minister when he said we were fantastically corrupt.
Yes.
These are the same people that the president is going out of his way to have agreements with, to network with, to sort of make his presence known.
I've just said here that an average Nigerian is corrupt.
So you agree?
I've just said it here, So there's an element of corruption in our community, and that is fueled by poverty. So even though he has said that, he's also seen that there is a new openness to fight corruption. There's a political will to move beyond the corruption. We were corrupt, or our country was engulfed in corruption.
But will you say that we've moved from being corrupt to now being less corrupt?
Baby step matters. We're just taking baby steps, and we will get there. I think we're building a new foundation for Nigeria that we can all be proud of. We're giving Nigeria a fresh start, and that's what matters. To rebuild and to create a fresh start, it starts steps by step.
But if you say the executive is where our focus should be, surely the executive should lead by example, and the legislation and the judiciary should follow in suit.
I think the reform would also reach there. Then they're trying. We have good people in the legislature. We have the likes of the Gideon Mowares, even the Senate president. Yes, there are a lot of things here, but we have good people who, have the will to do good in the National Assembly.
Have the will or are actually doing good?
It starts with the will,
Okay, so they're still having the will, but they've not actually done something
There's
good.
some who have not. We have Bemure Bruce and, these guys who are there. They have the will, but when the will is there, the common man can then push them. And when they say that the climate does not entertain corruption, they themselves will summon up. But if you're trying to be the only guy who's odd out of the rest, your colleagues are going to... So, there are few of them who have the will to do good. Now, let's work with those ones. Let's encourage them. Let's push them to be able to turn that will into reality. And that's where we need to get to.
Let's take the example of the fuel scarcity and the subsidy scam. Before this government came in, they said subsidy was a scam. It was a way where people were getting rich and they were not importing anything. And they've gone ahead to either, some would argue, remove subsidy totally, or as they would say, just partially subsidize subsidy. But the bottom line is that Nigerians are paying far more after months of paying black market prices. So in that area of corruption, using the fuel subsidies issue, do you think the government did well?
My views about the fuel subsidy issue and the fuel, all what's happening are I'm going to try to keep some of them private. They're not very palatable because I feel the pain of the common man. I have to buy fuel myself. The shock was when I went to fuel my car. I would usually spend 6,000 and I have to spend about 12, 13,000 to fuel my tank. That was when the shock came on me a few days ago. And I'm like, whew. So what's going to happen? It's affecting the price of tomato, the price of everything in the market. Now, the common man doesn't want to understand what you're talking about, percentage.
So basically, the government needs to do more for the common man.
The palliative that they have put in place must begin to manifest. And not just about, okay, we're going to put more mass transit in place, but a lot of other things. So, for example, I saw the governor of Cross River on the rail service he just introduced there. I know Lagos will begin to introduce theirs. If you begin to put those, many of us don't even want to drive on Lagos Road. And then we also want lights. If we have lights and we have good roads and we have, nice trains and all that, we won't be bothered about how much fuel is sold for. So we not just want to deal with those things, but putting systems in place. If I can get a train from here, thank God the top 4 million bridge is going to have a light rail service in the middle of that.
Yeah, but let's not forget that we have the issue of the Niger Delta.
Yeah.
I mean, pipelines are being blown up. I mean, these are the areas where we have our local refineries. Isn't this going to affect, electricity? Isn't this going to have, even how much we can earn, which is what the budget is based on, our monies coming in from the monoproduct.
Of course, there are political angles to all these things. People are now agitating for different things.
And you will still stay at 6.5 for this administration?
Yes. Why? Is because there is that strong political will, and you can see the passion towards that progress. Yeah, they have a challenge. They don't speak out a lot. They're not communicating a lot.
Is as you said, a challenge? Is that something they need to improve on?
They need to do that.
To be more transparent,
yes.
to speak
and I think it's
more?
an African thing. We're used to releasing press releases rather than, president taking an opportunity of going into a private school.
But the president does speak, but a lot of times he speaks to foreign groups, that's foreign media.
Yes. That's what I'm saying, because, we need to. If it was an Obama, for example, and yes, our president is an Obama, he would come to speak in Unilag and use that opportunity to talk about
what the
issues.
President can do to engage more with the average citizen is to be open in his communication.
Yes, not just through the minister, but also personally. Okay. People need to see that he feels the pain of Nigerians. Okay. They need to see that he understands that 114 naira per litre. And then when you're in that position of authority, you can never feel that pain. Yes. That's a reality.
Thank you so much, Daya. That was very, very passionate. I have to agree. So 4 out of 10 on the issue of job creation and 6.5 out of 10 on the issue of corruption. Thank you for joining us on Rubbin Minds. We're going on a quick break, but when we return, we'll be discussing the Children's Day that just happened in the past week. Stay tuned.